All righty. Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for stopping in tonight. And we're going to have a lot of fun tonight talking about one of our favorite things. But first, what I'd like everybody to do is take 10 seconds and just think about the best thing that happened to you today. So, ready? Go. Okay. Hopefully, you thought about the best thing that happened today and you're thinking more positive thoughts now. Because before we can get into addressing objections and before we're really ready to have a conversation, it all starts in our mind. It's our mindset, it's our belief, it's our conviction, and it's all how we're going to approach this from a positive standpoint. So that's where we're starting. And that's why I wanted everybody to kind of level set themselves. And that's what we should all do, especially if we know we might be getting into a conversation that might be a little tougher than, somebody who we think is already all in. So, let's see. I have taken some information from 5 different sources. And so at the top of each slide, you'll see who I'm talking about and where these came from. And the first is from Susan Sly. And she does a millionaire in training. And one of the things that I took from her is that it all starts with mindset. Belief and attitude supersede skills every single time. So even if we don't know every answer, and we shouldn't know every answer, our belief and our attitude and what we're presenting will shine through. And when you believe in isogenics, Susan says, you are believable. And when your belief is the highest, your business is higher. And the things we need to believe in, the things we need to have in our mindset before we go into any conversation, first and foremost is our belief about network marketing. And we should really know, and if we're new, then you will know, because all the resources are here about how our business model works. Through the pencil pitch, the cash flow quadrant, the business of the 21st century, we have everything we need to understand the business model. And then we have to have belief in what we have within this model. And Susan actually brought out a point that was interesting and something I heard her say, in that our business, our model has really changed the business practices as new businesses are opening up with referral programs such as Uber and companies like Poshmark, where if you share your link with somebody, you get $10 off your next order and they get $10 off their first order. They are, in essence, tapping into our networks as customers of theirs. It's network marketing. Affiliate marketing. A lot of influencers will, if they're nutritionists or they are, they're athletic trainers, they will send you to Amazon for the products that they use and say, use my link. Guess what? Amazon is paying them to bring people to their website. And subscription models. If you have anything, if you have meals that are coming to you now, say from Blue Apron, from Home Chef, a lot of us do now. Those are auto ships. Every single week, we order meals and we pay a price and it automatically comes. And so all of these things, we have changed businesses and the practices and the way they open with the business model that we operate in, network marketing. So believe in that. The other areas we have to have our belief in is isogenics, our company history, know how we started, know the story of Jim and Kathy and John Anderson, and believe in that. Know that we're 18 years strong. Our community and our culture and our team. People should want to be a part of what we have. We have a culture that's amazing. We have a culture that nurtures, that teaches, that helps, that holds each other up. That's something we need to believe in, be proud of, and offer to others. Our products, our quality is uncompromising, the science behind it. We need to have belief in our products and what they can do. And our vision, our 2.0 vision, which all our leaders have laid out for us over the next 18 months, we are going places. We are taking the company where it's never been before, at a time when others are pulling in and they're shrinking, we're growing. So we have so many things to believe in. So there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't be able to have a mindset and have a belief and conviction that leads us into anybody we're talking with confidence. And next, There's another gentleman that I follow very closely, Ray Higdon. And he is a generic trainer for network marketing. He was very successful in network marketing himself. And he does a lot of, well, he trains every day. And like anybody, you know, there are things that I emanate with and things that, you know, things that I probably can't do personally. They just wouldn't be good coming out of me, but I learn a lot from him. And there's a lot of folks in the industry that we can learn from. And Ray's definition of posture is so key for what we need to do with our mindset. He said you have to have posture, and his definition is belief in what you have regardless of external acceptance or approval. So there are going to be a lot of people out there that initially, because of their own mindset, their own preconceived notions, they're going to think that we're something we're not. They don't understand network marketing. They don't understand nutrition. We have to have belief in what we have, regardless of what anybody else thinks. And we have all the tools we have to get that belief and to level set our mindset. And Ray coaches to don't hide, don't try to over-convince, don't defend. And he said, if you're getting hung up on one person's objections, if you're getting hung up on one conversation, and let's face it, we've all been there, we kind of obsess about that one conversation we've had all week. He said, you got to push through it, because you should have so many folks in your pipeline that one conversation should never take you down. And I love this when he says, if they shoot at your feet, don't dance. If you hold your posture, if you hold your ground, if you have an answer for them, even if the answer is, I'm not sure, that's a really good question. I'm going to check with the resources I have. I have some team members that are expert in this. If you hold your posture and you don't dance, you don't get flustered, that's intriguing to people, because then they know that you really believe in what you're talking about. And always keep in mind, we always have the option to take away the offer. We can, if the conversation is going down a path where you know it's not the right time for them, you can always say, you know, I feel like this opportunity might not be the best time for you right now, but you know, if you know anybody that's looking for better health, that's looking for more energy, that's looking for an income on the side that they can do in the pockets of their time, I would love your referral. I'll take really good care of them. And I'd love to talk with you at some point in the future. So we have the takeaway, and that alone should give us some posture. Many objections come from our hangups, and Ray will explain that to people. He lets you know that, again, you need to be good in your head, because if you think it takes too much time, our products cost too much, or anything that's in your mind, it's going to come through to who you're talking to. And we should always come across as not being addicted to the outcome. If we're too hypey, we're too hardcore, we're going to beg for objections and for people to push back. But go back to that definition of posture, belief in what you have regardless of external acceptance or approval. That's the way we need to go into every conversation. Eric Worre, everybody should have read or should get his GoPro book. It is like the go-to book to have in your library. I reference it all the time, and this is some information that comes from him. And I think this is a really great thing to think about, is when someone brings up a negative question or an objection, they really are helping us see a blind spot they have. They may not know anything about what we're personally about to tell them, but they have a blind spot in general. And so we need to have some empathy for that. Because a lot of times people just want to sound intelligent. You know, they want to seem like they know what you're talking about. And so they may seem like they're pushing back, but really they just kind of want to sound like, yeah, I got that. And they don't want to seem easy, so they may throw in a question or an objection to feel like they've got control back. And we all know this, but it always begs saying, our goal should be education and understanding, not to win an argument. You know, if we begrudgingly get someone as a team member or a customer, that's really not the baseline you want to start a relationship with. So our goal should always be to understand and to fill them in on all the great stuff that we have, to educate them. And he reminds us, if we act offensive, we're going to plant a seed of doubt. If we're too offensive, if we're too gung-ho, we'll chase them away. And a little more from Eric, because He feels like objections fall into two categories. One is the prospect's limiting beliefs in themselves. They failed before, they've gotten burned before, or their limiting belief in network marketing. And that's where our belief in network marketing, our understanding of what we have, really comes into play. And to let people know, have empathy, let them know we're just like them, that we've had the same doubts, the same fears. And we've all heard that we can sell through stories. Well, you can also overcome objectives through stories as well. And you can do that through the feel, felt, and found. When somebody says, I don't do shakes, you can say, I know how you feel. I wasn't a shake girl either. I used to buy shakes from Costco, and I used to have the little GNC gold card, and every month I'd go in for their sales and I'd load up on shakes. And an hour after I'd have a shake, I would be starving. And I think they increased my cravings for sugar. And I really didn't feel good. But then I found Isogenics, and I did my homework, and I found somebody I knew, like, and trust, and I gave it a try because I knew it was a meal replacement, not just a protein shake, and here's what I found. So you lead into it like that. You let them know that you felt the same way. And if you don't have a story that resonates with their objection or question, you'll have a teammate that does. And as you get to know folks and see the Facebook posts and get to know the people that we work and we deal with every day, you're going to have that corral of stories to pull from. And that's a really great way to let people know that, you've been there too, and here's how you felt, and here's what you found. And Lynn and Michael Klaus are next. And this was a celebration breakout session. So this was one of the ones we had the option to look at, and then we were able to review it. And I know these are posted somewhere for us, or they will be. And this is one, if you haven't listened to this, it is absolutely gold. They have so many good things in this presentation. And the first thing they said that I pulled out was our goal should be to pull out questions. Because if we don't pull out questions that people have, they're going to come up with excuses. And so why go to the very end of our conversation, us doing all the talking, when all the while they've had questions, and then at the very end they're going to say, well, I just like real food. And then you're basically right back where you started. So advance the conversation with questions and with no intention, just asking questions and intending to listen and take the conversation from there. And they said, strive for pleasant persistence. And I really like that, because we all like to be persistent and just add the pleasant in front of it. And it's great. You can continue to move that conversation ahead, and, you're getting somewhere and you're becoming friends in the process. Because we have to remember, people are constantly being sold to, and their belief and their trust is low. So objections are going to come up because of that. So if we're pleasantly persistent, without being in their face, and we're answering their questions, and we're asking them questions, and we're advancing the conversation and looking at it as a journey, because all journeys have obstacles. Just think about your last road trip. I know we haven't been on many recently, but you get in the car, 30 minutes later you have to go to the bathroom, and the driver says, we're not stopping for 2 hours, just hold it. Or the gas station is crowded where you have to stop for gas, and you finally weave your way into one, and there's a plastic bag over the handle, and you're like, great, there's no gas in this pump. I mean, the obstacles are going to come up, know it, and we deal with them every day, and this is no different. Another thing that this goes back to their asking before you answer from Lynn and Michael. And the one thing they were really keying in on was asking, what would you like to know? Or what would you like to know about first? Don't just jump right in. So if somebody asks you, so what's Isogenics? Don't just jump in and start to give the history. Well, we were founded in 2002 by the Cougars and John Anderson, and we're $8 billion plus. And don't launch into all that. Ask them, thanks so much for asking me, what would you like to know first about Isogenics? Because you really don't have any clue what they want to know first. They may have a preconceived notion. They may say, well, I heard you guys are just shakes. And that's where they want to start. And then you summarize, oh, you think we're just shakes? Wow, we are really so much more than that. Yes, we have shakes, and they're great. But we're energy, and we're performance, and we're anti-aging, and we're so many more things. What would you like to know first about the shakes? Go back to their question and see if there's anything more they want to know about the shakes, and then go from there. So you're always advancing the conversation. And if you're not sure what they mean, If they ask you a question like, is this network marketing? Well, what do you mean? Ask for clarity, because some people will just jump to the defensive. Oh yeah, it's network marketing, and network marketing is not a scam, and da 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 da. First, ask what they mean. They may not have anything negative in that question. They may just want to know, is this network marketing? So again, you're asking for clarity, and then you're summarizing, you're listening, and then you're answering their question, and then asking them what next question they have. And another question that they had coached on in their training was, would you like to change that? But being very careful in how you ask that question, because it can come off as, for some people, being sarcastic or demeaning. So if somebody says, I really don't have the time to do this. Well, would you like to change that? Because this business is really meant to be done in the pockets of your time to start. So it's easing into that. It's planting that seed that they could change this. So that's another question to ask, to plant the seed that the excuse they have might not be valid. So it's diving deeper into what your prospects are being, or what they're asking, because people like to feel listened to and heard. We all do. And the way to do that is just to take a step back and ask before you answer. Get clarity, summarize what they've said, and then launch into your answer, and then ask them what they want to know next, and see where the conversation leads. And one last slide on Lynn and Michael, because as you can tell, I really like this presentation. They said, look for a prospect, not a project. And again, we're postured. We need to realize we're interviewing as well as we're talking to a prospect and we're giving them information. We're interviewing them as well, and we're looking for people with a burning desire versus the victim mentality. Now, granted, we'd love to help everybody, but isn't it easier to spend your time and energy with people that are looking for what we have? It most certainly is. So we're looking for prospects, and we're sorting and weeding out too. And again, that's part of our posture, is to know we're in the driver's seat. We're not just giving information, we're getting information as well. And we're sifting, we're sorting, we're seeing where these folks might play out. And they want us to be excited when somebody asks a question, which is kind of what Lynn said when we started. Because if the ask doesn't happen, it doesn't all get out on the table, and it's gonna come out at some time. And so you'd rather get it out and rather talk through everything. And then when you get to a point where you feel like you've asked and you've listened and you've probed and you have more information, you'll know when you get to the point, you'll feel when you've gotten to the point where, now that we've covered this, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to start? Get started, enroll, however you want to word that. And then listen, because if there are more burning questions they have, you're giving them the permission to get them out. And again, that's what we want. We want the conversation to continue. And be intentional and be excited about what might be holding somebody back. Because if we don't get to that, we're going to continue the process. And we already know that most people don't sign up right away. They don't enroll right away. It could be 6, 8, 10, 12 times we're going back and forth. But the more the conversation is advancing, the closer you're getting, and you're building the relationship. And they say, be intentional, not accidental. Don't kind of sometimes. Always have a goal. Always be focused. Be dialed in. Have done your homework. And remember, it's always okay to tell people that you don't have an answer. It actually gives you the opportunity then to follow up. And it also gives you the opportunity then, if you missed something in what you presented to them or an answer, to fill that back in. Because I don't know if I'm the only one that does this, but quite often I'm like, I wish I would have said that, or I should have asked them this. But if you have a reason to get back to them, and you're very postured and just saying, that's a really great question, and I know I have the resources to find that, and I have some teammates who are experts in that, and I will look that up, and tomorrow I'll let you know. That gives you the reason then to follow up and to keep that conversation moving ahead. And at the end of the day, that's really what we want. And Laura Stevens, she is in the TMA group. If you search her name within our Facebook group, there is a video, and it's a video that I pulled this information from. And I think she's got a few more than this too, because I went to her YouTube and she's got a few more. But this one is really, really good. And it's about a half hour long. And this is a few of the key things I pulled from her. And it goes back again to mindset. You know, this all ties together. All the leaders basically say the same thing. A lot of it starts with us, because she says we first need to identify objections in our head versus true objections from someone else. And she wants us all to have a conviction statement that we need to be strong in the meaning Isagenix has in our life. Going back to Susan Sly, we need to have belief in Isagenix. So we need to sit down and get clear on what Isagenix means to me. What is my goal with Isagenix? Believe it, be clear on it, be confident that that's where you're going to get, and share it as part of your story every time. Let people know that you're strong in your belief and that you're with this company because you know what it has to offer. And she also says we don't have to be experts, use tools and share tools for people to use. I very often will tell somebody if they have a product question or they have a question about the science, I usually will have an answer for them, but then I'll also send them or direct them to isagenixhealth.net or isaproduct.com, because I want people to know that we have resources and we're transparent and we're more than happy to share our resources with anybody because we're that confident in what we have. And Laura also says, and this is so true, that sometimes the cost objection is just a mask for people. They failed in something else. They've tried a weight loss system before and they've failed. They felt like they've lost their money. Some people think you'll go away when they bring up money because sometimes money is uncomfortable to talk about, and that's where your posture comes in. That's where doing your homework and knowing their goals and knowing the value that we can bring to them and understanding the redirect of spending that they're already spending at the grocery store, you can have a lot of posture when they bring up money. And some people will bring it up just because they think that's going to stop the conversation. They'll be intrigued when it doesn't. And some people have their own money mindset. So if you're talking about the business, they don't think they can earn any more than they do right now. They've got some money mindset stuff that's going on. So it's not always that they don't want to hear what we have to say or they don't agree with us. We have to have that empathy and realize they may have some things around money. And she goes back to, what we've heard before. Tell me more about that. Just like Lynn and Michael said, tell me more about that. Advance the conversation, investigate, get to know them deeper. Because everything you get to know about them is going to help you answer their questions that much better. And I'm going to end with Susan, begin with Susan, end with Susan, because she's just that good. This is another YouTube I found of hers. Objections stem from a person's subset of beliefs. So again, it's a mindset thing, and it's oftentimes a mindset that the person you're talking to has. And people generally don't say no. They have excuses. And this was interesting. I had never thought about this before. She points out two forms of objections, and she said, listen to know what type of person you're talking with. And, once I read this and thought about it, it really is pretty clear. There's the how objectors. They have some interest, but they want you to lead them or to show them how, because they don't think they have enough time. They don't think they have the money to get going. There's something that they don't think they can do that you can then ask them more about. Ask them to explain, well, let's see how you currently spend your time. Let's see if we could carve out an hour or two every day or 3 or 4 days a week. Or let's see what your grocery spend is right now. What do you currently have for breakfast? What's in your pantry? So they're looking for you. They're open, but they're looking for you to help them answer their questions. How could I do this? And then there's the why objectors. And these are sometimes the folks that seem a little in your face because they're going to ask you, well, is this FDA approved? And why can't I find this at the store? And so these people want proof that we're real, that we're legitimate. And Oftentimes these folks are the easiest folks to answer because their questions are very direct, and the answers, if you've done your homework and you know your business, which we all should, and we know our company, and we've done our homework, these answers are pretty easy for us. But it's all in the tone, and then when you answer their question, being very open and excited. So what would you like to know next? Because that'll kind of put them on their heels, because they're not expecting that. They're expecting their more direct, the questions that are direct. They're expecting you to kind of shrink back. That's when you don't dance and you go back to your posture. And then she's really clear on when you've done your due diligence on the front end, when you've investigated, when you know their goals, you have options to talk people through just about any objection that they could possibly have. And if you don't have the answer, you always have the fallback. Let me get back to you on that. Let me talk to somebody who I know on my team, who I know knows a lot more than I do. Let them know we don't have to know every answer. They don't have to know everything if they join us. And then she's really big, and I think this training would be great at some point too, on NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And I know like Zach Slobin, I think that's a lot of where he comes from, and Tony Robbins. But the vision casting. Imagine if you could walk into your closet and put on anything you wanted to and not cringe. What if you could lose that 20 pounds by the end of the year? What if we could add $500 to your income in the first month or two, and then 6 months from now, what if we could add $1,500? What bills would that pay for you? People like us, when we were in the corporate world, didn't have the opportunity, to basically set our destiny, to earn whatever we truly worked for. We were capped. You're probably thinking, this isn't going to work for me. Well, I felt the same way. And this is what I learned. And then there's if not this, you've told me you want to lose this weight. You've told me you don't have the energy. If not this, what are you going to try to feel better? And then you can keep going the way you're going and probably stay where you are, or what if you gave Isagenix a try? So it's all that vision casting. And I would love to learn more about that, because every time I hear that, I always think, wow, I wish I could do that. And then finally, I just had a couple quick common questions, objections, and just some quick ways to start the conversation. These are more the explain to me how. This is going back to Susan. These questions are from the how people. It costs too much. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. Well, what do you mean by that? Let's look at what you spend on groceries now. So you're asking for clarity before you jump in with an answer, to really see what they're wanting your help with. Is this MLM? Is this the pyramid scheme? And Eric Worre is really big on first asking them, do you have a story about being an MLM? Because some people do. They've had some bad experiences, or they know somebody that has. Let them talk that through first, and you'll have a much better idea then of how to address that. And if they don't have a story, then tell them it's network marketing. And what would you like to know first about our business model? Again, be positive, be welcoming to the questions they have, and own up to it. It's network marketing. Yep, or it is. And let them go back to pyramid. Let them ask the question then. What do you want to know first about network marketing? If pyramid's a really big thing to them, they're going to say, well, isn't it a pyramid thing? Well, what do you mean, is it a pyramid thing? Because pyramids are not legal. And then, then go into that. Not getting defensive. You're just giving information. I don't want to drink shakes. Tell me more about that. What do you currently have for breakfast? Or I know how you feel. I wasn't a shake girl either. Nothing ever worked. And then go into your story. What do you do? What is Isagenix? Thanks so much for asking. What would you like to know first about Isagenix? There's so much I could tell you. What do you want to know first? So again, in closing, it's just asking questions first, listening for the answer, summarizing what they've told you, and then continuing the conversation with more questions. It's the dialogue, and it's welcoming those questions. And above and beyond everything, it is having posture. And it's It's having your mindset and belief into what we have to offer people. So that's it.